Squid Game Roblox. So Squid Game Season 3 has been out for a while now, and the hype hasn't really died yet. Well, at least not for me, because I've been playing a Roblox copy of the Squid Games called Ink Game. I've had a blast with it, so much that I even bought myself the VIP Game Pass recently, using my hard-earned Robux. Well worth the money in my opinion, because now I could make my fit look so much more tough. For those of you who watched the first season of Squid Game, you may remember Player 244, the Christian man who was often seen praying and citing Bible verses. His actions, however, didn't really line up with his words. Rather than living out the morals he proclaimed, 244 was quick to suggest attacking other players, and even threw another player into a plane of glass during the glass bridge. I don't think a lot of people blamed him for this behavior, though. The Squid Games were designed by the VIPs to bring out the worst in people. But what if there was a Christian in the games that stuck true to their values? I decided to give this a test by playing Ink Game, but playing through the game with biblical morals. This meant that I would have to do my best to save as many lives as possible, while never attempting to kill or harm any other contestant. It would mean having to put other players before myself. The optimal route for this playstyle to work was this: save as many people in red light, green light as possible, survive Dalgona, survive and help the wounded in Lights Out, vote for hide and seek with the hope of receiving hider, lead the people through glass bridge, and then convince everyone to rebel against our kidnappers. This was the optimal route, but little did I know an unexpected wrench would be thrown into this plan that would throw everything off course, and I would never see it coming. However, some prep work would be needed before I began my playthrough. First, I would need to have the medic power equipped. Medic would allow me to give bandages to injured people, as well as carry hurt players faster during red light, green light. Speaking of being faster, there was something else I needed. To be able to save the most amount of people and outpace griefers during the game, I would need to be able to move as fast as the game could let me. So once again, I used my hard-earned Robux, this time to buy the max speed boost. With my super speed and medic power equipped, I was now ready to start playing the games. Every match of Ink Game begins with red light, green light, just like in the real Netlift show. Here is where I can probably do the most good, by picking up injured players and carrying them to the finish line. When the lights turn green, I sprint off, ready to turn around and run towards anyone that needs help. Several players become injured by the first red light, and so I end up grabbing one near me and carrying him to the finish line. After dropping him off, I run back into the fray to grab another person who was already close. After him, I go back out once more and grab another person who said he needed a hero. Lucky for him, I was there. Shortly after dropping him off, red light, green light ended, and it was time for the next game, Dalgona. I started off by having my picture taken, but was rudely interrupted after. However, despite various attempts by my fellow contestants to rage bait me, I would not fall for it. Dalgona is a simple game where I just have to survive by carving out my cookie. There's not much I can do for others here. I got my star cookie and cut it, allowing me to live another game. Coming up next was Lights Out, the special game where people can kill each other. Here, my goal was to run around and give bandages to injured players. If someone attacked me, I would allow myself to fight back enough to where they would run off, but refuse to kill anyone. Because of how hectic this game is, people usually don't stop for long, meaning I rarely get the chance to actually help. But this time, I was able to give some guy a bandage. After Lights Out ended, it was time to move on and vote for the next game. The choices are between hide and seek and tug of war. My preferred route would be to go hide and seek and get hider, but it's 50-50 between getting hider and seeker. If I get seeker, I have to sacrifice myself and quit at that point because I wouldn't allow myself to purposely murder anyone. So I voted hide and seek and clinged on to hope that I would get hider. Fortunately, I did, which meant I was good to move forward from here, as long as I survived at least. My first hiding spot was quickly discovered by two seekers, one of whom would proceed to chase me for most of the game. Lucky for me, the max speed that I had bought to better help in red light, green light was now keeping me quicker than my pursuers. I was able to outrun and dodge them, surviving to the very end, even when I had 5 seekers chasing me down at one point. The next game was jump rope, which I had never played before because it had just come out when I started doing this playthrough. I had no idea what to expect, but I would soon learn just what this was all about. As the game started, I watched the people in front of me die one after the other to this game. Could it really be that hard? By the time my turn came up, I was unsure of what to expect, but moved ahead. After I made the first jump, I encountered the mechanic that killed everyone in front of me. Balancing. You had a fraction of an instance to mash the correct key or else you would die. I just barely was able to balance, but was knocked down by the rope after before I even could process what just happened. And now it was on to round 2. The mission was the same as before, save as many people as possible. I picked up my first person, ready to drop him off to the finish line, but shortly after made a mistake and ended up getting shot myself. Thanks to my medic power and speed, though, I was actually able to get him to the finish line quickly. This injury of mine, though, would make getting back out there to help people more difficult. So I waited to grab people who were close to the line that I could reach, preventing people from pushing them before they got there. I moved on the next game of Dalgona, where I would end up getting Umbrella for my cookie. Unlike the real show, though, Umbrella doesn't pose much of a challenge here. After getting shoved and watching people shove each other, I grabbed my food for lights out and prepped to survive the night while helping anyone I could. Immediately at the start, a person began targeting me, but I would end up escaping him and bandaged myself up. I gave a bandage to some guy hiding near me, as well as some other person who came nearby. Someone began attacking me at the end again, but by that point it didn't matter. I had survived another game. This time in the game vote, tug of war was the chosen option. I didn't want to play tug of war, since it would mean I would have a sort of moral dilemma. If I participated and helped my team win, then the players we were fighting against would die. But if I didn't participate, my team would die. While my own life wasn't a concern, my teammates were counting on me. So I decided I would fight for them. We put up a good fight, but ended up losing in the end. On to round 3, I was determined to try and at least make it back to jump rope this time. The strategy would be the same as always, save as many people as possible. Early on, I watched someone get pushed halfway across the map, and so I bolted to save bro. Was able to carry him to the end, thankfully. However, when I reached the finish line, I sadly watched more people get pushed across the map. This time, they died before I could even reach them. Powerful griefers were here, but they wouldn't deter me. I was gonna save everyone I could, even them, if they were injured too. I did what I could before red light, green light ended, but still wish there was more I could have done to help. After getting rudely shoved out of my photo, I entered Dalgona and sped through my cookie, hitting a quick aura farm after. Grabbed my food for lights out and readied myself for the coming night. Wasn't able to get much done here, but I did try to give a bandage to the person who shoved me earlier. Talk about forgiving your enemies, am I right? When it was time to vote, I realized how many people we had lost. Not surprising, given the amount of people out to kill in this lobby. Hide and seek got chosen, and I doubted I would receive hider again. Yet, to my surprise and thankfulness, I did. This time, I hid behind a pillar for the entire game, never once having to leave. Now, it was time for a rematch with jump rope. I now had a better idea of what to expect this time. After watching the people in front of me fall, it was now my turn. I made my first jump and survived. Then my second. Then my third. Then my fourth. But one wrong key press would end up ending my game. I even used a free revive to try and recapture that momentum I just had, but still ended up dying the same way. After this defeat, I decided to hop off for the day with the hope that jump rope would be nerfed tomorrow. The next day had come, and I was now ready to start again. I had heard that jump rope had been nerfed, although I had no idea to what degree it was nerfed. Now on round 4 of my playthrough, I stuck to the same method as always in red light, green light. Take injured people to the finish line. This time I ended up getting 4 people safely across. I then got my picture taken and moved on to Dalgona, completing a star cookie, hit a quick aura farm, got my food for lights out, where I sort of just stayed back and didn't really do anything because there was a huge battle going on in the middle. I voted for hide and seek in the game vote and ended up winning. I had already gotten hider the past 2 times, so I did not expect to get it this time. But once more to my surprise, I did. This time I started off hiding with a few people, but took off running whenever a seeker pulled up. Honestly, I probably should have gone back to help by trying to push the seeker, but I didn't think about that until after. I then spent most of this game running around, occasionally running into this one other hider who would run with me for a while. After beating hide and seek, it was back to jump rope. Supposedly, it was easier after the nerfs, but as I watched all the people in front of me die, I was doubting that. I managed to make it further than last time, past the midpoint, but end up dying once more. Round 5 was nothing extraordinary. Saved a guy in red light, green light, moved on to Dalgona, did my cookie, aura farmed, survived lights out, tug of war got voted in, lost in tug of war once again. Once more into the fray, I started round 6. The past 5 games had been a repeating cycle. However, this time, something unexpected would shake things up and affect the choices I had to make. Somehow, a friend of mine on Roblox, Datey Boy, joined the game. I was so locked in that I didn't even notice for a while, but looking back at the footage, I can see him just about everywhere. In red light, green light, my first person to save walked directly to me when it was red light. After dropping him off, I noticed a person way in the back who had been shot. Without help, he likely wouldn't make it. But I wasn't about to leave anyone behind. So I ran back to the beginning to grab him, where I found him calling out in desperation. And I was there to answer the call, grabbed him and took him back, along with 2 more people after. In Dalgona, I got Umbrella again, but I completed it pretty quickly. Hit an aura farm as per usual, but Datey Boy was up there with me. It was at this point that I finally noticed him. This changed things, because now I had a friend here to protect. I needed to make sure I could get him through lights out. In the short few seconds that I spent looking for him after the mini-game start, he had somehow managed to get damaged within being 1 shot. He began to fun frantically around the map, so I followed closely behind, trying to give him a bandage that he ignored. I finally found him in the bathroom again, with way too many people around for my comfort. I'll let this scene play out for itself. I started to stand guard over the back of the bathroom, and when more people showed up, I was surprised to see that nothing happened. A guy who tried to attack us earlier even apologized. Afterwards, tug of war was almost unanimously voted. Now, I was already on a loss streak when it came to tug of war, so I was worried this time. I ended up with Datey Boy on my team. I locked in, and with the help of my team, we managed to secure the win. Sadly, this meant the other team did not make it, but I kept them in my heart. It was now time for my fourth encounter with jump rope. They made another nerf to where you now could survive one failed balance, but the game itself would still be difficult. I watched as my friend got knocked off by the rope, but I didn't have time to mourn. I could only keep moving forward. I was now on the 7th round and still hadn't made it past jump rope, something that seemed impossible at this point. I knew if I could practice it, I could get the hang of it, but it takes 20 minutes on average just to get it and have one attempt. It's like trying to practice a Night Lord in Elden Ring Night Rain. There was also a hacker in this lobby too, but I didn't have the time to concern myself with it. Cleared Dalgona, survived lights out, and had hide and seek just barely win the vote. There was some calm before the storm when I danced with some people, but I knew that hide and seek was coming up. I expected that I would probably get seeker here, but by the grace of God, I somehow managed to get hider. I survived hide and seek once more, and would now face my final jump rope, win or lose, here. I watched as most of the lobby fell victim to the minigame, with me unable to help them. And then it was my turn. I missed my first balance attempt, but I still had one more in men. It was now or never, my final chance. Sometimes in life, you don't succeed in everything you attempt. Failures will come, and you have to accept that. In this instance, I couldn't get past jump rope, but honestly, it didn't really matter if I did or didn't get past it. My whole mission originally was to have as many people make it to the end as possible and then rebel. But no one ever made it past jump rope. Even if I did make it past, it would only be me who did, and my mission would still be a failure. Jump rope, I salute you as an unbeatable bastion. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle, and let me know if you'd like to see similar content in the future. See you around, and God bless.